How you doing today? This is me, Raymond, and today we are doing something fun, something new. And let's see, let's test to see if everybody's able to hear us. One, two, three,
Hello.
Hello.
There's like a static. I don't know what it's from.
I thought it was someone at the ocean.
Yeah, I don't know what the static is from. Oh, it's gone now. What happened?
Ocean man, take me by the
Right.
hand.
Take me to the land that I am.
Ocean
Serious time. Okay. Um.
man.
Well, since I'm apparently proctoring this debate for some reason, I don't know how I'm qualified to do this, but hello. Uh. Yeah, I guess.
We gave you $5. We got the best that we can get.
Dang. I'm a wish judge. Oof.
Abracadabra.
But yeah, because of that, I guess I'll be taking the lead on this one.
Well, you have no choice. I'm joking.
So in that case, uh, we will now commence the court of the Arsene Amulet debate. In the yellow corner, we have Raymond. In the green corner, we have Evil Rabbit. Raymond believes what?
Cricket noise. Cricket noise.
Defendant,
Oh,
please
the cricket
speak.
noise.
Plead your
What?
case in this court of opinion.
I say that the Arsene Amulet should be in the museum. And yeah, that
I,
is sort of my case.
I wasn't here.
Ah, I see.
Cricket
You
noise.
missed my entire big speech.
No. I heard you. I heard you.
Okay.
Wah,
Well,
wah, wah.
Ray, what is your case?
Uh, just give me a sec. Let me set up. Let me set up your little avatar right here.
You don't like speaking in the void?
Here's your little avatar. That's you.
Ah, yes. Lovely.
Shouldn't the hair be
So
blue since his avatar's blue?
can you start over? Can you say?
Sure. All right, everyone.
$5 wish court. Can we start?
Yes, okay. So, all right. Everyone, welcome to the Court of Opinion. We are currently resting a case on the Arsene Amulet and where it should go to and belong. In the yellow corner, we have Raymond pleading the case that the Arsene Amulet should be put into the government, correct?
Yes. I believe it should be put in a vault. Should not be in a museum.
All right. And on the green corner, we have Evil Rabbit, who believes the amulet should stay in the vault.
That would be. Wait, what? Hold on. You were trying to trick me, weren't you?
Stay in
I'm not
the
that
museum.
stupid. I plead the case that the Arsene Amulet should stay in the museum.
All right. Well then, when both the defendants are ready, we will start opening statements. You will have a time of 3 minutes to make your beginning case. You can choose to pass over to the other party whenever you wish. Afterwards, we will have a round of arguments. The first one making their opening statement will be decided by coin flip.
Oh boy,
Okay.
I feel
Go ahead.
pressure because I have no idea if my paper is going to be well written enough for me to read it in time.
That's the fun of this. Get my
I do have
timer
physical
clock ready.
paper, so
All right, let's see here. For 3 minutes. All right, so that's the timer. Pick a head of a coin or a side of a coin.
a tail.
All right, you pick tails. Raymond, are you fine with that?
A tail with two
Yes.
heads.
That's fine. I go
right.
heads.
The coin has flipped on tails. This means that Evil Rabbit will be doing his opening statements first.
Oh boy. Like you just say what you believe in, basically.
Basically, what you'll be doing is making your starting case to everyone. Explain the kind of beginning synopsis of, hey, this is kind of the reason, but it's not like the full reason. You'll go more in depth later on, but it's just like
Right.
a beginning synopsis of,
I,
hey,
I'm give, I'm putting
this is
fish
my
bait
plan.
out there. I'm seeing if anyone wants to bite it.
Kind of, sure. Go with that
Okay.
analogy.
All right. Okay.
Whenever you're ready, I will start the timer.
Okay, I'll go for something. I'm trying to look at my list of things to start off with.
You
Okay.
can move your character as you speak if you want to.
Okay.
I did think of actually researching actual museum law, but then I
buddy.
thought,
Oh, he has a couple of things from museums. He came prepared.
Ahem. I may I start then?
Yes.
all right, it begins now.
I propose that the museum is the best place for the Arsene Amulet. For you see that it literally has basically been a part of history and all that for a long time. By Ramsey, he said that it's been around 50 or 60 years, and it is definitely needed for psychological problems because Sylvie has basically told us in the episode that it can help with a person's psyche and figure out what epithet. And if we don't have it around, for the public to know, how are we going to make improvements over society? So, yeah, and hey, there are nuclear weapons museums out there that will literally protect nukes that are actually working and alive. I mean, for crying out loud, they have to have a metal detector, a bunch of guards, and everything. All you have to do is do the same treatment for an arson amulet, and you solved a lot of problems. That is what I think we should do. Did I do it well? Sorry, I'm bad.
No, that was great.
All right. I mean, you can even show pictures if you want.
Okay, well,
All right, you're switching over. You only took 1:25.
Wow, I'm pretty good or bad, depending on who you are.
Are you switching over?
I guess.
All right, Raymond.
Give
Yes.
a jokable speech. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
dear Judge and viewers watching at the moment, I bring you the case that the Arsene Amulet represents a significant threat to the public safety and stability of society due to its unique ability to steal epithets, allowing such power to remain in a public place where it has serious risk could easily fall into the wrong hands, like we see in the show, and cause chaos in the world. The ability to strip individuals of their epithets not only violates their personal autonomy and identity, but also undermines the essentially the balance between inscribed and Mondays. Like any Monday could come along, take this, and take someone's epithet away. The potential for abuse, exploitation, and the creation of, like, I don't know, power imbalance can, like, the Arsene Amulet could be used by someone to take a bunch of epithets at the same time. Essentially storing it in a vault from the government or the police is the right thing to do to prevent any misuse and protect the public. That is my statement.
Boo! No, I'm joking. I'm not that evil.
All right. Timer done. Let's see. Next. I do wonder if anyone here has questions from the jury. or I guess in this case the viewers.
Yes, comments. Tell us now.
Before we begin with affirming statements for your openings, which basically means getting into the evidence and what you want to present.
Okay.
Anyone
So we
has
just
any questions?
do leprechauns exist? Sorry, you said questions. You didn't say any question.
All right. Well, if no one has any further questions, we'll begin. Evil Rabbit, begin your affirming statement whenever. And
So basically, I just tell all the information I have, right? Or is there
uh
something else?
well, essentially, yeah. So what you'll do is you'll go through and present the evidence you have and why you believe it would correlate to your opinion on this matter. And then after that, you will have Ray present his affirming evidence to his point.
So I have
Then
to
we'll go
tell
to
them. Oh, you first, Judge.
yeah, no problem. Then we'll go into rebuttals, where you'll both will counter each other's points, going again, you to Ray,
All
and
right.
then
So I tell the information that I have about my subject. He tells all of his, and then we counterpoint each other to see if we have any beef on the other guy better than the other guy.
yeah, or
That's,
just to make them realize a differing opinion and how it could be seen in a different light.
okay, understandable, I guess. I'll try my best to do that then.
I'm gonna give you some of your evidence. Hold on.
Just put it on the side where no one can see it. Behind the
Yeah.
scenes on Patreon. Make sure to subscribe. Seriously,
Yeah.
subscribe. This man makes good enough content that I'm on it.
Yeah, it's great. Just if you guys can do that, that would be awesome.
Patreon's
Okay.
$5 hairs, not actual doll hairs, dollars.
Okay. I gave you. You have right here. You're gonna be able to
Where?
see them. Hold on. They're gonna be
If
tiny. They're gonna be tiny. I need to make them big. Hold on.
oh, I see him enlarging.
And
He's more thin particle.
I was only able to give you 2 of them, but you have the rest. You can just reference them. We know that you found them. And
Right.
this court, at least this representative of the court, has seen the documents. If you want, you can send them to the judge, and he can also review them.
All right. Well,
I will also say, you don't have to try and convince Raymond of your point. You have to try and convince me of the point.
right. I get that, man. Like, I know he's my enemy. That's why I'm talking to you.
Oh, I accidentally moved you. My bad.
I like to move it, move it. You like to. All right. I shall start off with my evidence of sorts of why my museum idea is still a good idea. I do believe the defenses are bad, but I do see how we can make them better. For example, I bring out my first bit of evidence. It's right here, and don't know. Okay, let me
Put it
just.
over
I'm
here
not good at moving on
behind
All
the
right.
judge. There we go.
As you could see, there are nuclear museums in the world in real life because I'm breaking the fourth wall like Deadpool or something like that. Anywho, the museum. Sorry, the home of nuclear museums. The museum restricts visitors from carrying firearms and weapons while on the museum property. Weapons include, but are not limited to, guns, knives, swords, etc., etc. If you have a system that literally makes it to where they cannot come in, you have 1,000 guards everywhere, making sure nobody gets in with a weapon, it's going to be pretty hard to get in. And also having more funding for, I don't know, more security, because the museum was literally being able to be robbed. Nobody got any, tripwires or anything. Nothing happened. Literally making it the most easiest heist in the world because of that. And I just want it to be more safe and more harder to get their hands on something this powerful. And my second evidence of sorts, museums are allowed to have weapons that are already fully loaded weapons that still work. I show off. Example 2. I'm moving it in. You can move the other one out if you want. Just gonna. There we go. All right. As you can see, museums usually keep weapons and keeps guns exactly how they get them. That means if the guns are functional when they are donated to the museum, they stay functional. That means that you don't destroy it or basically make it to where it's more of a problem. So if the Arsene Amulet isn't allowed in museums, I think it should be, because not just because it's a weapon, because it's a weapon that has history, and we shouldn't be just treating it like a weapon. It's history. Yeah, I think that's my main points so far. I'm aplifting and I'm not good at it. And I'm drinking
It's all
coffee.
right.
It also doesn't help.
If Evil, next time when you talk, if you can move in a little bit closer to your mic, that would be helpful.
I don't have one.
I will
I mean,
give you
the mic of your phone.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I will give you a tip. If you wish to be able to make a more persuasive point, slow down your words.
I'm
That
sorry.
way, no, it's not like a problem. I'm just saying, if you're going to try and make a persuasive point, since Ray has been speaking online quite a bit, so he has more experience than you in this, and at least in
Good
terms of like
point.
live, just try to, even though you're being nervous, slow down your words and make sure that your
Right.
point gets across to the people that are trying to understand it. That's all.
Understood. I'll try my best, Judge. I shall move my evidence out of your courtroom. Just,
All right?
can they see it anymore?
Nope.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
if that is all your affirming statements, then let's switch over to Raymond.
Well, here's the thing. The Arsene Amulet can be compared to real-world dangerous items like nuclear weapons or powerful cyber weapons. Both of these represent immense powers that, could be misused and can lead to catastrophic consequences, like nuclear weapons, and like guns, like my opponent mentioned. Yes, there are, in these museums, there are these guns and there are these nuclear weapons, but like he said himself, the jazz museum, what's it called, Sweet Jazz Museum, did
Bingo.
not have the right security to maintain this powerful tool, this powerful artifact, safe. Like, it got infiltrated by 2 people who were not even authorized to actually be security guards, and it got stolen in the first night of its arrival to the museum. So even though
Zero
weapons
funds,
are
huh?
able to be in a museum and they can be active, the level of security that it is shown in the Sweet Jazz Museum is not capable of maintaining this powerful artifact. And this artifact, like I said before, could bring potential deaths, can bring the extinction of society as we know it. Like, both comparisons, taking it for like a nuclear weapon or a gun or cyber weapon that is just laying around in a museum without security, both could be highlighted as, like, sense of a misuse and like endangerment of the public. I think that it needs highly and necessary, strict, controlled security And that's why I think it should be stored somewhere safe. And that is it. I was gonna present the fact that the Arsene Amulet was hold on, was literally used to take someone's epithet, and then that person was able to use it. They had two epithets.
May I ask, your original statement was that you wish for it to be controlled by the government, correct?
Yes, I wish it to be put in a vault, in some kind of government or police, whatever it is. It must be in a secure containment, not in a public place. I think it should be put in a private place.
So, do you have any or affirmations towards the original statement, or no? Like, with government control, period, or is it just protective? The reason I'm asking this is because you're kind of dipping into rebuttal, though that might just be because Evil Rabbit went first, but it's whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of, yeah, I guess I'm stating more the fact that to me, comparatively, I guess is because we, my two statements were already kind of, what I was bringing was already essentially pretty well talked about. So
Yeah.
just yes, sorry, Judge.
No, it's fine. I was just asking to see if you had any points specifically for the governmental control aspect of it. Continue.
No, I rest my time. That was it.
All right then. In that case, I guess we'll begin with rebuttal of each other's points. So, Evil Rabbit, go ahead if you want to poke any holes into his wants and needs here.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. You. We couldn't hear you. Go again.
Me?
Go ahead. No. We couldn't hear Evil Bunny. Go ahead, Evil
Bunny.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? I'm in space.
Yes.
Okay. May I start over again?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Your point of keeping it safe. Yes, they're good. I get it that you want to keep it safe. But at the same time, we have bigger problems of it just going into the government. If you give a nuclear weapon, like he says himself, if it is to a nuclear weapon and yet nobody else has one, what do you think they're going to do whenever they find out that you have it? That's right, they're going to all go after it. So leaving it a target and telling everybody in the world that literally saw it saying, we're going to put it in a vault, kind of is a bad idea. Just pointing it out. And also, if it's such a nuclear weapon that you say so it is, or let me just remember the podcasts of sorts, like the little conversation we had before this entire trial ever happened, before Enter the Race, Isekai, plugs, and all that stuff. You said that it could suck a person's soul. Well, the thing is,
part of their soul, because
let me finish, please, pretty please.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that, please. Okay, you said that it can literally take a bit of their soul or whatever, but it says the word is attached to a person's soul. Attached, by definition, I have even a picture for it, like the word attached itself, the meaning of it, and you say it's a part of the soul. That is a big distinction, because it can't be that deadly if you literally only taking the word out of the person's soul. And another thing of sorts, you say that it's a weapon in the right hands. But as we've seen throughout the series, not everyone's epithet is good. For example, the person that is the sheriff of Redwood Run only has a blow, and it blows, quite literally. And I'm just thinking, if it's such a dangerous weapon, and you have to get 1 out of 5 people to use it, and there could be a percentage chance of it being terrible or weak even, you're basically going to make it more problems. Because, well, you're not going to make more problems. It's going to not make problems because it's literally a gambling of if you can get a good epithet or not. And yes, I get it. There's a lot of people out there. For example, Zora. Now, Zora, what do you think her powers can do to like a government building? Like, think a bit. She can rust away bars of metal, take down buildings by just aging it a bit, and making it to where weapons are useless, to where we cannot take her down, either one of us. But if it's in a museum, everybody will see it. Because everyone would visit a museum that is taken better care of and has a lot more to give. Because if everyone's at a museum and everyone sees that thing, it's going to be a lot harder to take something from plain sight. That is my counter argument.
I'm gonna
sorry if I
have
was too fast
to.
or slow.
I'm gonna have to disagree because we have had in our real world heists where things are literally in displays and have been stolen from those museums, paintings and things that are in highly secure places in the museums were stolen in plain sight by very skilled criminals. And you talked about all these people that have these powerful abilities, but if the government has access to this weapon, they can decide what they do with it. But if it's in a public place where it cannot be studied or it can't be securely guarded, it's just in plain sight, someone's gonna steal it. Like we have Bliss Ocean knows about it. We got the bonsai blasters know about it. So it's like if they put it back in the museum, Bliss Ocean's just gonna go in there and steal it from them. Again.
But what makes your place so much better?
Well, it's a secure location. It is somewhere where nobody knows about. Nobody would know that it exists even because it would not be public knowledge. Like
they'll still find it.
Yeah, but will they be able to break in?
Zora, time manipulation, metal, concrete, it all erodes. And even if you had enough gold, you ain't going to make that much without, like, everybody going like, hey, my tax dollars.
Well, the thing is that we don't know what kind of resources of gold they have in the epithet world, first of all. And second of all, I think that they could make a bolt specifically made out of gold just for the amulet. Because she's a well-known criminal. So everybody knows her ability.
#1 bounty hunter, don't forget.
Yeah.
She had that name for a reason. She took down entire gangs in her song. She literally told about an entire gang going down.
I will say that there is a part of this debate for asking each other questions called cross-examination if you wish.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's fine. You didn't know because I didn't finish explaining. My bad.
My bad. I should have read it better.
No, it's fine. But yeah, Ray, do you have any more rebuttals towards his original argument or affirmation points?
So, while the idea of placing the Arsene Amulet in a museum for public display may seem appealing from a cultural and historical perspective, the inherent risk far outweighs the benefits. The primary concern is that potential misuse. That potential misuse is my primary concern, unlike other artifacts that hold only historical significance. The Arsene Amulet possesses active danger that could easily be exploited if it fell into the wrong hands. Again, I see it more not that there's a nuke in the building, I see it that there's a nuke and the buttons right next to it to press. Like, it's active and they have the buttons right there. You can press them and boom goes anyone could touch that and boom goes the world. Like, that's how dangerous it is. Because again, nothing this dangerous exists in our world. Like, there's nothing like this in our world. So like, I think the closest thing to me, it would be compare it to a nuke that is active and plays publicly in a place where people can just touch the button and boom goes the world. Moreover, the very act of placing the Arsene Amulet on display could attract criminals, just like it did with Lady Mara. As soon as she found out there was an amulet that could do that, she was like, I'll go to this museum and steal it, increasing the likelihood of theft and subsequently the abuse of its power. If Blaze Ocean found out about it now, they're also going to try to go after it. And in a museum, it's going to be easier. And we know that the Blaze Ocean is known as a terrorist group, so they would not be afraid of just bursting into the museum and killing everyone there and taking it. So the potential consequences of the amulet being used to steal epithets are too severe to justify the risk of putting it in a public habitat. That is my rebuttal.
All right. With that, we'll go to cross-examination, where each of you will ask specific questions about each other's points and see the answers and see if see if you guys can challenge or clarify any points
All
about
right.
what's happening. I knocked my
Do I
mic.
go first or? It's fine.
Honestly, I feel as if with cross-examination, you don't really. I don't know. It's up to you. I would say you go first. Yeah.
Okay then. You said that it would make a target. Which is a bigger target in your opinion? The entire world or just a bunch of people wanting to get it for terrorism purposes?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
I'm asking you, which is a bigger target in your eyes? The government itself being targeted by other governments, or just one area with one terrorist group? Mind you, the area will be fully guarded and fully secure with a bunch of things to help protect it.
Well, I guess
And
that's.
the public eye.
I don't know how to answer that.
Okay. I'm sorry
Hmm.
if I worded it wrong.
Well,
I
I believe if you wish for me to clarify for you, what he's
Understood.
asking is, do you think that a bigger target would be a legitimate government for other governments and political people to use? Or if you believe a bigger target would be the singular museum, which is in one place alone that doesn't
And
really
mind
have any
you, they
political
believe.
issues or anything like that.
look.
And
And
one
mind
terrorist
you, they
organization.
all think of it as a myth. Like, people thought it was a myth. People didn't know it was a myth. Barely anybody knows it actually works.
Well, but we know now that Bliss Ocean knows it works. We know that the Bonsai Blasters knows it works, and even Giovanni Patage, who is forming his own villain group.
I
So
will say again, cross-examination is for questioning, not arguments.
yes, sorry.
So stay strictly to the questions asked, and then you can ask your own later on, and probably be
Yes.
held to the same.
So again, I don't understand the question. Like,
Okay.
because my argument is I don't think it should be in a museum. I don't know how the government works in this world. I don't know how the police works because
Dinosaurs don't believe in
they
government.
they seem to be very stupid. But at least I think it should be in the hands of a police force or a government protecting it instead of a public place where like anyone could just touch it or take it.
And the
Uh,
So
government. Okay, I'll wait for my next question. I'll
so
wait.
I will say that in terms of the question, are you satisfied with this answer or no?
Kind of.
If
Okay,
not, you
okay.
can re-ask the question, I believe.
I have a different question then. If the Arsene Amulet does go to the government, how do you know that corrupt politicians will use it correctly or rightly? I mean, it's the only weapon of its kind. Well, it's the only thing of its kind that can steal epithets. Think of that. You could literally get rid of your political rival by getting rid of his epithet, and suddenly he cannot join the race because he doesn't have an epithet. Because epithet jobs, literally, they don't give them to Mondays that often. And if you can have a political opponent that can literally take your power, you literally become powerless in the situation. And if
I,
you take away another nation's power, you get more power to where you become more and more of a threat to everyone else, to
I
where you
I
can
will
take over
ask
a
again.
lot.
This is a question.
Oh, my bad.
Not yet.
Do you think it's a good idea to give a powerful necklace to your government?
I would like to clarify once again. My argument is not to give it to the government. My argument is to not put it in a museum. Like, whoever organization, either government or police, can maintain this safely in a private environment where criminals can't reach it, that is what I am talking about. A place where it's safe from the public, from innocent people, and away from the hands of the criminals.
All right.
Uh,
I feel like there's a
I have,
better way to ask your question if you wish. One
all
that
right.
he can't squirm out of by reaffirming his point. Uh,
Understandable.
so a better way to ask this question would be: do you believe that in a competitive type of thing, such as politics or a business or some private organization with a lot of protection owning this amulet, in a business like that, do you believe that corruption would not have a greater threat than it being in public eye?
As you said, the person that knows how to use it, they can make it dangerous.
yes. Well,
They have the controls and the weapon.
well. Again, I think right. If we're gonna assume that there is corruption in this government, um,
Well, not government, but any specific
any
competitive type
specific.
of company, government,
Mhm.
singular organization, anything that has enemies. Because a museum at its core does not have enemies unless it chooses to make them. A museum is a place of protection, like a library, which is why it has a more public thing. Again, I don't want to take over your point, Evil Rabbit.
No,
Evil
no,
Rabbit. I am trying to be an impartial judge. It's just I'm trying to make the
you're doing a
question
good
easier
job,
for
my
you.
dude. You get a cookie after this court case of $5.
Is it chocolate double chip?
It could be what you want, baby. I'm sorry, I'm so stupid.
Uh,
Oh,
like I can't. I would not be able to answer that question. I think that is outside of my knowledge, and um, I
well,
wouldn't be able to know if whoever is maintaining this dangerous amulet safe will use it to their advantage. I just can't say that. It could be a possibility. I can admit that, but I can't confirm or deny that.
All right.
Because I think it's speculative and it's not a fact. And I think we're dealing here with. I think we're trying to deal here with a little bit of fact, if not in this fictional
Well,
setting.
yes. However, the reason why it's asked in that way, at least in my opinion, is because this is a court of opinion. You're using facts to back up your opinions at this point.
Yes.
It's not a fact of a matter. There's not one truth because this is a court dealing with law, not science.
Yes.
Because of that, there cannot be a factual answer to a
Of course.
question about your statement.
Yes.
Not a purely factual one.
Understandable. I do have my final question. If you can
Mhm.
bring out the images of gold, like they talk about how much gold is on planet Earth, if this planet is like our planet, like almost in everywhere, like he did say it was like our planet, but it flooded a bit and the continents are moved around a bit. So I'm guessing
Mhm.
it's the exact same size as our planet. And if you will bring the images, Raymond, because I did get images and I looked up gold facts for way too long and looked up the cost of each one for way too long to not have them on there.
Oh, I
Sorry,
can't bring them up. I am sorry. I didn't have enough
man.
time. But we know
Well,
that you have them.
Okay, because I didn't want to like have like no, you're not showing the evidence.
No, I saw them.
Joking.
I saw them. I saw them, so I know you have them. So you go ahead, just present them verbally.
Okay, by just a little bit of gold to make. Like I looked up the basic thing of a room of gold, just full of like with just one layer of gold, not like even like a big layer, just a tiny little inch. It
Mhm.
costed like $1,145,159, I think, just for that one room. If you were to do that again for every room in that facility, or just for a vault that needs a lot of layers, that's going to be a lot of gold out of the government's pocket just to keep safe the amulet from Zora.
What is the question?
Yeah.
What I'm asking, what are you going to do to save the amulet from Zora? Because she is a hunter and tracker, and she will find that amulet with the right amount of time. I'm asking you, do you have a definitive way of stopping her from besides just having your army? Because I have
Well,
eyes. Like
well.
if everyone sees the amulet, they see it go,
Mhm. If you
and
were
Zora
asking,
won't go for a trial. My
if
bad. I'm
you were,
asking.
Mhm.
Sorry. Let me. Are you able to fight Zora? Are you able to stop her at all?
Well, if we, I am gonna take that question, I guess. If I was to make a speculation, based on my opinion, uh, I think that it is very easy, and I don't think it would cost that much to encase this amulet in a solid cube of gold, uh, and just not use it at all. Put it in a vault, in a solid cube of gold. That way, she
Okay.
can't get a hold of it. Nobody can get a hold of it.
Okay, this isn't part of the debate, but this is purely me questioning. What is the point of having
Okay.
the amulet then? Is it really not able to be destroyed? Because if you're just never going to use it, then why not just destroy it? Or can it not be destroyed or shattered?
Well, I don't know
Oh
that.
my goodness,
Again,
he solved it.
I don't know that. So
Uh,
if they were able to break it, I would argue they should.
I mean,
I
break the
don't.
gem at
I
least to see if it
think
get rid of the power, and then put
yes,
it in the museum.
yes.
That would be how
If
I
that
would
was the
solve it.
case, if you could, or make a replica, make a replica. That's something that some museums do. right? So
That's a
if
good
you,
point.
if you could make a replica, put it in the museum, and just break this one, destroy it, then I guess.
Like
But
that's just my question here, because the argument you seem to be presenting is just to have it tucked away where it can never be used again, which at least against his argument kind of makes sense. But at the same time, if you're going to go through all this trouble, why not just destroy it so it really
Well,
can't ever be used again by any party?
because I came from the perspective that this amulet is magically indestructible. I don't
Here,
know
let's
that.
try
don't
this
forget,
right now.
this
Hold
thing-
on.
Hold on. We need it for study. For crying out loud. Someone's trying to figure out a way to study it.
Okay, it
See
seems
if it
pretty
has
indestructible.
anything
Never
with
mind.
Psyche. It's glitching out of reality.
I don't have hands. I don't know how to expect me to try and destroy
Have you tried
it.
using a big hammer?
I don't have a big hammer.
Here's an idea. How about you? Somebody, I'm just gonna go and eat it. How do I eat it if I can't open my mouth? Shove it in. Get in there.
No, okay, stop a second. Stop a second. I don't think you guys are understanding what this looks like.
Big.
No, I knew what it looked like.
Goodness, no.
I knew what it
Oh
looked like.
god.
We're gonna get
Um,
demonetized, aren't we?
I don't think that's grounds for demonetization. Also,
I tried
these
eating it.
videos,
I thought it was
these videos are
chocolate coin.
these videos are not monetized. Anyways,
Good
Um,
point.
Oh, God. What
okay,
the world
if it was able to be destroyed, I would say destroy it. I think it's too dangerous for our society. Should not be
Wait,
in a museum.
I thought of a big brain move. I
Now-
have the fake amulet, and I put it in my museum, and you keep the real one and keep it safe in the government to where there's two of them that look identical. If we can hire what was his name? He had a name that could turn people to gold or something like that.
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
That's it.
That
If we can
rat.
get Ramsey to make a perfect replica,
Well,
then
the problem.
you could just have the real one.
Well, the problem with
And
Ramsey
if you
is
scientists will study it and make scientific discoveries with it, I'll be fine with it.
well, I was Ramsey's lawyer, and the problem with that is that every time his gold turns back to whatever material he was working with. So I guess he could make a replica
like he
made
has
out
the
of gold.
materials to build it himself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, then yeah.
Like
I would.
given the materials like an emerald and actual gold. All right, I would be happy with that. It would show history, and you guys could study it and make sure to keep it safe. I'm really counting on you on that.
I
You
find
will,
it funny that one question destroyed both of your opinions.
Well,
like one
Destroy it.
singular question caused this entire debate to cease to a halt.
well, I would like to ask my questions though to finish.
Snap.
Go ahead.
How? Okay.
All right.
How can a museum ensure
Throw your
the
insults at me.
the absolute security of the Arsene Amulet, given that it possesses the active and highly dangerous power of taking someone's epithet? How would
You're
you?
glitching on me. Can't hear.
Mhm. How would you try to
I heard
protect?
half of that. I'm sorry.
How would you try to protect the Arsene Amulet in a museum? If it was putting aside that we agreed that we should make a replica of it, how would you protect this if we were to put this version of it, the real version, in an actual museum?
I mean, we did pay $5 for this court case. We gotta make sure to go through it, or else it's not gonna feel like we used our money well.
Well, I don't. I
used
didn't.
my
I didn't
$5
pay
back to
$5. I
make
thought
sure
we were
I
here
used
for
it
free.
fullest. Oh no, I'm your Patreon guy. I make sure that you have a little money. I literally paid for this.
Oh! Thank you so much.
you-
I appreciate it. I didn't
I
know
made sure
you
to pay
did that. That's really
Are you
kind.
trying to kiss me?
I'd like to
'Cause it's not gonna
reiterate, I
work.
have not been paid by any singular party, nor any party at all, for
Shut
that matter,
it.
for this specific court case.
No, I am not trying to
I gave you
kiss.
$5 and a chocolate cookie with fudge in it.
Okay, I will make sure that those $5 get to Birch.
You really
Our
don't need to make sure
gods.
of that. I'm gonna be real.
Good point. Okay, Okay, you said something about weapons, right? Like, okay, the defenses I would suggest are a bunch of spotlights, like really bright ones, to where they're on the roof, they're on the sidewalks around it, and put it in the middle of the city to where it basically will be impossible for you to not see somebody walking away with like an amulet. And if you have a bunch of guards surrounding it, like on the
Mhm.
top, on the roof, everywhere, you basically got yourself a very protected thing. And make sure to block off the sewers because they'll probably do some, you know, movie kind of stuff where they go in the sewer.
Okay. Okay. I think that is good security. Is it ethical though to
Well,
display
museums
and
don't get money.
well? Hold on. Is it
We barely
ethical?
get money at all for this stuff. So I would like to at least have one chance to have something for it.
Is it ethical to display an artifact with such dangerous potential in a public space, where essentially it is prone to have like criminal activity so because right in a secure place at least the criminals would go and get the government or kill people over there in the secure place. But over here in the museum, if these criminals come in here, they would be killing innocent people who are just plain having their normal day and steal the thing. So,
But Bliss
do
OSHA
you
wouldn't get in the
think,
way because Mondays are in the way.
but do you think that it would be ethical to put this in a place where it's risky for like to criminals coming in, even if you put security? Do you think it's ethical to leave this item with such power in this museum?
I believe so. I mean,
Okay.
people try to steal the Mona Lisa every single day or so, and they always get caught before they ever get to it because they literally have guards around it.
Hmm.
Like, and if you have night shift and day shift, you're not going to be able to just take it without having to brute force your way in. And I am thinking of like having like a secure room to where you have to be checked before you can just walk in and take a look at it. You're gonna have to like do like a check of sorts. Like you have to check everything before you just go into this room
So
to
I do have
basically look at
a
it.
out of debate question for both of you. So
Hmm.
currently, the owner of the amulet
Okay.
is the Sweet Jazz Museum, correct?
The police. Well,
The
technically,
police.
Street Jazz Museum is the owner. Sorry. Yes, the police is in custody of the
It's not
amulet.
really clear, is it? It's not
The
really clear, is
amulet
it?
is in custody with the police, but this item
Yeah, but
is
we don't know
owned
where it goes.
by the museum. It is owned by the museum.
Well, we don't know where it goes.
The reason I'm asking this is because if you're looking from a realistic standpoint, in order for this to go through, basically what would have to happen is that the government would have to draft up a contract with the museum to
Mhm.
have a specified amount of guards and reinforcements to the museum, whether museum itself pays that out of pocket or government donates forces there. You'd essentially have to draft a contract, and you would have to have public officials uh, basically every so often come into the museum and check to see if that those lines and those contracts are being fulfilled. So that's the realistic approach to how you're trying to specify with the museum having guards and all these things in a privatized way. And that's not always completely functional depending on the museum itself and all that. So while this is a debate, if you're taking into account the parties involved, which in this case would be the police and the museum, you would have to be working as a defendant of the museum or a representative of the museum to make any of these claims that the museum would do this, this, and this. But
I mean,
that's just
Don't forget,
realistic perspective.
your
Don't
museum
worry about it.
exists.
I mean, we are trying to
forget, your
bring
career
some
exists in
realism
museums.
into this. So yes, I do agree.
There's
That's my
nuclear
whole point.
museums.
Is that I don't know if a museum would have the funds or any of that to maintain the safe.
It
But-
depends entirely on the
Just-
parties involved with it, because the museums mostly get their funding from donations, mostly government grants as well. Museums are government funded programs. They are, at least in America, privately owned organizations, but they are government program funded for the most part, not counting admission fees and other things that add into profit for museums.
Someone is stating in the comments in the chat that the jewel is the one that does the talking. We are aware that the jewel is the thing that really
I did way
has
too
the
much
power.
watching of last night of epithet arrays, making sure I look at the Arsene Amulet, making sure it only takes the epithet and doesn't do any damage to the person, to know that it is coming from the chin.
And
Yeah.
that's
I wouldn't
another
have
thing
felt.
too, is that with the way that the amulet works, right? In terms of like how it works, it's not a threat until someone takes it. So it really
Yes.
just depends on
Well,
like-
my problem is that is a risk to the public because of criminals coming in to the museum. Like,
yeah, I just
there
wanted to
would
ask the
be
parties that had it, because
shootouts. There would be like people coming in and using their epithets and trying to kill people in there to get the. Like, it would be too much hassle just to keep this historical thing in a museum. Like, somebody would be bursting in there to try to steal it every night or every day.
well, the thing is too as well, if that's the case, again, if the two parties would actually work together, that would be a great way to catch criminals.
Yeah, to be honest,
Yeah.
I think
Like
that would be
it's a legitimate
trap.
honeypot scenario if the two parties would just get along.
yeah.
Hey, look at this thing that you want. Come and get it.
Exactly. Like,
You got the fake.
if they're really going to send every day new criminals, either from the terrorist organization or otherwise, then the police can just be on standby. They know where they're going to hit. They're going to add defenses to it. Like, if the people work together, then it doesn't really matter. And you can root out an entire criminal organization underground in your city just by having in the museum with a bit of extra added protection and government funding and training.
And as long
Should
as we
we
keep it in gold, it'll be also safe for real, too.
should we move on to conclusions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In conclusion, the Arsene Amulet is far too dangerous to be displayed in a museum where it's at risk. With known threats like Lady Mara, Ramsey, the Bliss Ocean terrorist group or organization.
Wait,
The
Ramsey
bonsai-
counts? He didn't even want it.
Well, yes, but he knows about it, so somebody can essentially, somebody can
Beat
ask
him up
him
and take
about
the
it.
information.
Yeah, somebody can pay him for the information. The bonsai blasters and Giovanni Potage, aware of its existence, the likelihood of it being stolen and misused is extremely high. Or at least, like I mentioned, the likelihood of criminals just showing up to the museum all the time to try to steal it, it is in a high thing. But the problem is that, people could be affected by that. The public could be affected by that. So to protect the public and prevent chaotic misuse of the amulet, it must be securely stored.
Why can't
Ensuring
we be friends?
its protection,
Why can't we be friends?
is not just prudent, it is essential for the safety of everyone, and that's my case. Why don't you present your conclusion, Mr. Museum?
Yes, I'm Mr. Museum. That's my middle name. And he waddled away, waddle, waddle. Then he waddled away to the very next day. Ba 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 da ba da. Two-
Do you
Go
have a
ahead with
conclusion?
your closing statement.
Yeah.
The statement, it's open. Can I take it?
Do you have it?
What do you do? I mean, are you talking to me or talking to somebody else? Like,
Yeah,
Do
just
you.
move
you?
me
Yeah,
down
Do
here.
you have a closing statement?
your conclusion.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I honestly thought Raven was still trying to finish his. I
I
think that
finished.
Arsene Amulet should stay in the museum to preserve history and to study its culture. Closing
Okay.
statement. You moved me down here, so I was wondering if we're wrapping it up, and you literally just teleported me out of the place.
Well, yeah, because I was putting you in the museum
It tastes fake.
because your closest statement was in the museum. Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I'm very terrible at this.
okay.
Uh,
You did great. I think you did great. So don't go bastardizing yourself. Uh, anyways,
but that's
Judge,
my job. That's my last name.
it's your
Pasteurizer.
turn. It's your turn to decide what happens. What is
Eat
going
it.
on?
Eat it. Eat it.
Or I think you need to like resume our two arguments and then decide.
Can I
If I'm
have
not
one more
mistaken.
lick this one last time?
Whoops.
He's eating it.
Nom. But no. So in terms of the, if I'm being completely impartial with this, uh,
Dun dun dun
Ray,
dun dun dun.
Ray, in my opinion, had a worse go about it in terms of when questions were asked at his logic.
Mm-hmm.
However, Evil Rabbit had a worse go about it whenever he was stating his points. So the biggest
I
thing
will admit
here
that.
to
Me
have
too.
in terms of a ruling is, if I were going to say, in terms of who won the debate, it would still be Evil Rabbit had a way better rebuttal than Ray in terms of the actual points stated, at least in my opinion.
I watch ways to make
hmm.
court shows to know.
Well, I think. Well, yes. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
It's just really difficult to choose
Because
a definite winner because I
I don't
personally
think
feel
I don't
as
think you need to decide who of us made a better
argument.
argument. Is more
What's your choice?
which which argument to you makes the most logical sense. Because we're not winners, either one of us. We're not good at this, but
Some will win, some
Well,
will
the
lose, some
thing
will
is,
sing the
and
blues.
if you have a
at the end
third
of the day,
option, then you can go ahead. I wouldn't mind hearing your opinion as well.
the thing
This
is,
is
at the end of the
America,
day,
after
as an
all. We all have
impartial judge,
opinions.
if I were going to pick one person that that's opinion was argued better, it'd probably be Ray's opinion was argued better.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable.
Personally, if I had the complete choice on ruling, I would say that both of you could probably just make it work instead, especially with the fact of your points basically coinciding together.
The
Because,
gym is a child and we could both share it.
well, no, it's not even that. Like, the thing is that
I was supposed to
Ray's
get it on
entire point
Tuesday.
isn't necessarily another organization needs this amulet. It's just that the amulet needs to be protected better. But your entire point is that it's a historical artifact, which basically all this collides to is if you're going to have this historical artifact, protect it better, which the museum was at fault of not doing.
Well, it didn't have good
Yes.
funding, for crying out loud. Like in the book, they immediately, at Naven's story, a bunch of problems happened because of it not
Yes.
being funded well.
That's
Yeah,
why I think it should not be returned to that museum, because
I'm
we
saying
clearly
we should have
see
it better.
that it was stolen, and it was not like the security was lacking. They let two people pretend to hire two people without checking their background. Apparently,
That's why
yeah,
Ray's point was argued better, is that in this case, with the specific museum, Ray's point makes way more sense and is argued way better
I mean,
because of the museum being at fault. Your point essentially
good
is to
point.
buff up the museum's security, which at the
Or
current
move it to a
state,
different one entirely.
yeah, at the current
Like, make it to
state,
where that thing is the only thing in there.
because of the fact of the way that this has been argued, it's impossible for me to say that your statement makes sense simply because the museum is not a current place to hold the amulet.
Right.
It's that simple
no,
as the fact, because the museum
That's
is
a
not
future
at,
sense, right?
yeah, because it is not at a good enough and well enough standing place to hold the amulet, Ray's point kind of has better arguments for it because you're
I
dealing
mean,
with
I
an
was gonna hire
incompetent museum.
Howie. I was gonna hire Howie to basically build up the defenses of it, but
well,
he probably would have cost
you
too
are
much.
you are a you are in a court of law. You don't have the power. You're not the museum. You're arguing for the museum. You essentially
Well,
you are the
exactly.
museum's lawyer. I am I am here to say that your museum sucks.
I didn't know that. I honestly had a random job in the mail, and I just took it, not reading it.
Yeah.
They
Again,
call me misleading. My first name is misleading. My middle name is irreverent, and my last name is blasphemy.
So because of that, I will say that Ray's the victor. However, if I were going to be arguing against Ray,
I will. Yeah.
if I was going to be arguing against Ray, my personal argument would be my personal argument wouldn't be that the museum is the better place to have the amulet secure. My personal argument would be that a government-sanctioned, privately owned vault is a worse place to have the amulet. That's how I see it. Because, again, with the way that we've seen how Epithet City works, the government is decently incompetent, mostly relying on epithets. Because of that, any competitive place, including corporations, government, police, any place that has a high amount of ambitious people and competitiveness, especially in a city that is mostly run by epithet users, will misuse this amulet, almost guaranteed. The reason I say almost guaranteed before you finish is because there has never been a single government system that does not have corruption in it at some point or high up in their system. Not a single one has ever been documented.
I do
Every
agree.
government system.
I do agree.
Yeah.
If I was arguing for the government, I would agree with you. But
and then also for a corporation or a privately owned vault, it's the same thing.
yes.
There's not a documented corporation unless you're talking about family owned, which is not a corporation or an incorporation. An incorporation, any corporation that would have enough money to make this, would also have corruption or highly ambitious, non-feeling, non-caring people at the top who would want to use this. There's no way to have these highly ambitious, highly monetized and money-driven corporations or governments or police without that being a part of it.
Yeah.
So if anything, a museum that is non-profit, that has a point of protection, would have a better idea for how to keep the amulet, at least in a way that is not trying to use or abuse its power.
Well, I would agree with you, but the problem I have is with risking the lives of the public. Because even if there was, like, even if somebody took the amulet to do whatever they wanted over there in the government and did whatever,
Don't forget they have to go through a bunch of security.
exactly, like, well, yes, but that's my problem. Even if they have to go through security, that security that is there, there are people who are there are people in the museum who can get hurt if somebody comes in guns blazing to try to get the amulet. It's
There's of
just
course simple solutions to those, but those aren't taken by this museum, so you are correct.
what I'm saying, right, is I don't, again, my point is not give it to the government or give it to whoever private owns or whatever. My point is don't put it in the museum. give it
Hmm.
give it to someone
I
else.
agree. The old museum would be. I mean, I would agree with that. Like, I wouldn't put it in the old museum at all because that thing will literally get stolen again easier. Because
And
now everyone
again,
knows.
that is why Ray wins this debate, because it's incredibly hard and fighting an uphill battle to argue it from the other side.
Yeah,
However,
that is a good point. Yeah.
if you're going to try to argue it from the other side, the only way that you'd be able to even have a chance of winning is to argue it from the other side of a different museum that has better security. Because
Yes.
any museum with better security,
I literally
for example,
just showed this.
yeah, that's the thing, is the fact of, with, if you're arguing for any museum with better security and not arguing from the idea of the Jazz Museum, there are multiple simple solutions
That gives a
where
point.
Ray's entire argument falls apart.
Yes.
Mostly because all of his idea lays on the fact of not having a protection, which any well-funded and actually, well-vetted museum, because again, this museum apparently just took in anyone, which, if that's the case, the museum staff, I believe in most museums, at least if they're non-vetted, don't have access to the high expensive items at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fact of, we've seen epithet cups be used, which
Yes.
are made of materials that stop epithets.
Well, they erase the memory of the person so they don't know what kind of epithet they have.
So this raises the question of, why not force everyone
That
within...
is fascinating. That's actually something that I was going to bring up. If you're telling me that you're going to put this in a museum
Memory wipes.
where when you go inside, like, there's, like, instead of a metal detector, there is essentially you pass through it
Well,
and you forget your epithet while you're in the museum, then that would be fine.
what I would say is the best way to do it is just to have two separate portions of one museum. One where, in order to enter, you need to have an epithet bracelet on, and that'll be
Yeah.
for literally anyone who wants to see high value items that are possibly dangerous, and one where you are just normal. And then
Yeah.
also, of course, you would check for weapons and all that. Like, again, any museum with better security wins this debate, because
Yes.
essentially a museum has almost zero chance of corruption if it's run well, because everyone there is usually there to protect the items, not to try and destroy them or anything.
Well, even if the anime campaign Eraser Cubs do erase the epithet, that was not the case within the show, because it is stated that it just erases the memory of having an epithet.
Yeah, but that's still an extra added protection. Not to mention, you could have epithet guards that have
Oh yeah, no, I was just
high-end crowd
I mean,
control.
I was
I
just
mean, if you
saying.
can get through, if you have what? Oh wait,
No,
I'm
that's
just
fine. Go ahead.
thinking. If you have the X-ray, and then you scan them, make sure they don't have weapons, then put cuffs on them, you already have made a bunch of steps into stopping them from taking it so
No,
easily.
I would lose. I would lose my argument, because that is perfectly capable. I think that's perfectly okay. I think that solves the issue, because I think putting it in a place where it actually would be protected is my point. Like, where people are protected, people are fine, nobody's getting hurt. Like, that is my whole point. But I don't think we should put it
I was
back
thinking,
in the sweet Jazz
Jazz
Museum.
Museum. Yeah.
Yes. And that
Anything
was
but
that's
there.
the point.
I mean, yeah. Anywhere that isn't the Sweet Jazz Museum, the most easy to rob place ever.
Yes.
But I think that kind of just concludes the entire case.
And
Yeah.
so what do we do now? Do we just eat cookies and just make crumbs for everyone else to pick up later?
Well, I was thinking maybe we should get some pizza. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Where would I'm facing this direction? Get out of my way. Okay. Hold on, trying to.
Isn't
no,
there a
they're
way
about to
to hold on? Isn't
flip
there a
this
way
thing?
to? I know that's aligning it. How do you flip it?
It's okay. You can
Okay.
leave with me.
Well, yeah, but he's trying to flip
Um,
it so he can walk out.
Yeah, he did. It's fine.
I'm flipping out.
You're out of the room.
So what do
You're
we
good.
talk about? So what do we talk about now?
Well, no, I think we can end the live stream here. It's
Nom,
pretty.
nom, nom.
It's been an hour, so it's fine.
So what do we do for next live stream? Let us know in comments, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a good.
What do you want to see in the next not empathetic isekai live stream? What do you want to see us do?
Are you talking to the comments or me?
I'm talking to the people watching. People watching afterwards, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. Oh, hold on. Wait.
Really?
Give me a second. People watching this video, subscribe. Hey, Judge, don't get in my way. Subscribe, like, comment down below. Let us know what you think. Yeah, everything like that.
Don't forget to bring Bert a cookie.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was fun. It was kind of silly.
Gold star to you.
And we hope you found endearing that we were taking this as seriously as we did. So goodbye, George.
Yeah, we did.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week for Epithet Isekai.
Wow.